As our wives love to remind us, we are not right about everything. In fact, we're actually wrong about a lot of stuff, and it's tough to admit it, especially to our wives. But it's a good learning experience to go through backpacking stuff we're wrong about. Also remember, click that subscribe button. Even maybe click the notifications bell if you want to know when we go live, because we live stream all the time. You can check out our podcast, get some sweet merch.
Yeah, he's wrong about the bot.
When you brought up that you were getting a bot,
poo-pooed the bot.
I did. I poo-pooed the bot because the size and the weight, and it's not heavy, by the way, but the size.
You know they make a smaller one.
Yeah. For this weight, you can obviously get a lighter titanium pot. But I poo-pooed it because I didn't think that we would ever take advantage of the lid being the lid that seals on.
We did every day.
Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how awesome
every
it was.
day.
And I was completely wrong about that. And one of the things that is really awesome about the bot is exactly what it's advertised for, is the fact that you can put liquids here, and it's got a rubber gasket on here, and then you can seal it. So what made this really nice is like stopping at the final water source before camp. We know we were sharing this, and we could just fill this up with some stream water, seal it, and take it with you, you know, another mile or so to camp, and then boil, and you're good to go without having to tap into your other water storage. We like to, in our lazy camping methodology, we like to get all of our water that we need for that night, and usually the morning. And sometimes you cut it a little bit close, but having the bot gave us almost a liter of extra water storage, and it was solely dedicated to cooking. But yeah, it's a pretty awesome thing. The only thing that pisses me off about it doesn't have like any handle or anything. So
yeah, I know.
I was completely wrong about that.
First thing we were dead wrong about, and I'm so happy we were wrong about it, was resisting the urge to winter backpack. A lot of people don't want to winter backpack. That's fair, because it's super cold, but we used to think it really wouldn't be that fun. You'd go out there, you freeze your butt off, and there's nothing to do. And all of that is true to some degree, but winter backpacking can be really fun. We actually have a whole video on why we like winter backpacking. There's nobody out there. There's no bugs. You can get access to certain areas that you might not get to when it's not winter. And there really are some pros to doing it. The cons are it's just super cold. It takes a whole separate gear / equipment to do so you don't die. It's a lot heavier. But all that said, it still is something worth doing, and the way we winter backpack is we don't go out there for very long. You know, we might do 2 nights max. We don't do heavy mileage days, so we do make things a lot easier on purpose, because dealing with the winter elements just presents like a whole other variable. But we used to kind of like be like, why would anyone ever want to winter backpack? It can be fun, we really like it, and there's a super pro secret tip to really enjoying winter backpacking, and that's to get a hot tent.
We talk about this all the time, but I just want everybody to learn from our mistakes. Mistakes. I'm going to talk about steaks. In going down a little bit of an ultralight rabbit hole, we fell victim to buying titanium steaks, whether it's shepherd's hook or these V steaks or whatever. There's a whole group of people out there that swear by titanium steaks and that love them. I'm sorry, they suck. They're too brittle, and they bend too easily, and they break way too easily. Lesson learned, and we tried like 3 or 4 different kinds of titanium steaks because we wanted the weight savings, even though maybe all said and done it was maybe ½ an ounce if we were lucky in weight savings. Get some aluminum steaks, sorry. The MSR groundhogs, the groundhog minis, whatever.
Something I was wrong about was I was really trying to resist going as super ultralight for as long as possible. When I started backpacking, I started with super heavy stuff. I started with a liquid gas stove. I started with a really heavy frame pack from eBay, really heavy pad, and I kind of resisted the urge to go ultralight because I didn't really think it would make that much of a difference. Couldn't be more wrong about that. Over about a 5-year period, probably dropped 10 to 15 pounds off of my total base weight. And yeah, you don't really notice it incrementally, but looking back when we used to carry 40 or 50 pound packs and now we carry you know, 25 to 30 pound packs. That makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference in how far you can backpack, how you feel at the end of the day. And it was a transition for us. We didn't go out and just buy ultralight stuff all at once. We started with things like a sleeping pad, getting quilts, getting lighter tents, getting lighter tarps, you know, really dialing in the amount of clothes we bring, and all that stuff kind of added up to taking off like 15 pounds off of my total pack weight. But that was something I really resisted at first. Ultralight backpacking, and specifically like ultralight backpackers, they can appear a little bit snobby at times, you know, us included in that, and that was kind of a put off for me, but they're onto something, and there are a lot of easy ways you can take weight off your pack, and it might not even cost you that much. So something I was wrong about was kind of resisting the urge to at least go a little bit ultralight, but in the end it's saved my back, and it's saved my trips, and it's been a great thing.
We talk about the helium jacket a lot, and sorry, but it's just important. It's a good lesson learned, because the Outdoor Research Helium 2 is and was the trend that you saw in the backpacking community for rain jackets, and rightfully so because of the weight. I think it's like 7 ounces, something like that. I can't remember. It's a ultralight rain jacket, and if it did its job as a rain jacket, it would be awesome. Like, that's an awesome weight. But the problem is they just do a real crappy job of shedding water. And I will say my jacket and your jacket are probably pretty similar. If you put this thing on in a downpour, if you have to hike in it, you probably will make it about 20 to 30 minutes before it soaks through.
You'll be sweating too.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna rate it poorly for sweating, even though you could probably get some like better breathable fabrics out there. Honestly, it's a glorified wind jacket now, and for the weight, it's a terrible weight for a wind jacket. Yeah, it'll work fine in summer and like warm weather where you don't have to worry about like as much about hypothermia, but the bottom line is it just doesn't do a good job as a rain jacket in shedding water. A lot of other people out there have the same opinions too.
One thing I've actually been wrong about, I'm kind of coming around on this, is I used to think that you always had to use reel down. I know this is kind of a niche one, but I always used to be like, you always must use reel down in any circumstance, and that is not the case. I've now actually switched to buying things with synthetic down on purpose, mainly because synthetic down is a lot more water resistant, and synthetic down is a lot cheaper. And synthetic down, while it might not be as packable, I find it's not as fragile. So the counterpoint is it's a little bit heavier, and you can't compress it quite as much. But my last jacket I got was synthetic down. I've got some synthetic down pants I take backpacking. I used to really kind of poo-poo people getting synthetic down, but I was wrong on that. Like my new sleeping bag, it has synthetic down in certain areas of it, you know, like your feet, because that area tends to get a lot of moisture. So I don't always just immediately get reel down anymore. Usually I do because it is lighter, but certainly for non-backpacking related stuff, I almost only get fake down because I don't really care about weight or packability when I'm not backpacking. But synthetic down is not something to sleep on. There are some like cool technology improvements people are doing with synthetic down, so I was kind of wrong about kind of poo-pooing it, and it does have its place.
This one's actually kind of important.
Let's get more clothes out.
You know, and we put out these types of videos too about like clothing doesn't matter, and you can get hiking clothing for cheap. For sure, you can get cheap hiking clothing.
Where are you going with the hoodies? Okay.
Well, oh yeah, not this one. Hold on. This is kind of a lesson in that a nicer piece of clothing does beat out a cheaper piece of clothing. So it is true, if you want, you know, you can go all day long. You can find the cheapest backpacking clothing all over the place. I want to talk specifically about sun hoodies and the cool hiker trend about wearing a sun hoodie when you're out west, because that's what you do because you're cool. I've tried literally 3 different sun hoodies, and actually I have the exact same one, literally the exact same ones that you have. And I've tried 3 different ones. I've tried the Light AF one, I've tried the Giver, and then I've tried the Patagonia, I think it's just the R1?
Capilene Cool.
Oh, the Capilene Cool. First of all of them are super comfortable, but the Giver was really really hot. The Light AF for me is way too big, fits way too big, and there's like it has a lot of bulk. Both the Giver and the Light AF, the hood fell down a lot, which kind of annoyed me. So I was kind of burned out by sun hoodies, and then going off of your advice, I picked up the Patagonia one on clearance actually, so I got it for a steal. After using these sun hoodies, I was against it because it was really annoying. The hood never stayed up. They were way too big and bulky. But this Patagonia one, the fabric is like one of the nicest synthetic fabrics I've ever felt. And the hood stays in place a lot easier, and it does its job of, I think it's like 50 SPF, keeping you safe from the sun, as they all do. And it truly is like a lot cooler. I mean, these are all great products, but it's kind of, I was burned out by sun hoodies because I didn't see the attachment to them that all these people have. Like, I get wanting to like not get skin cancer, and that's really important and all. This Patagonia one changed my mind, and it was dirt cheap too, and they're still out there on clearance. So if you're in the market, that's the route I would go.